Chapter 4, verse 10. And for those of you who have been following this series, you've been with us all along, you know where we're at in this point. Nehemiah got the news when he was over in Persia from his brother that the walls were in shambles, and he gets his vision from God. He gets permission from the king. He takes a 1,000-mile journey and goes to Jerusalem. He's cast this vision. He makes a plan. He mobilizes and motivates the people, and they begin building the wall to half its height. And that's where we're at right now. And things are just cruising along, hunky-dory. Everything's doing great. Now we get to verse 10. Meanwhile, the people in Judah said, the strength of the laborers is giving out. There is so much rubble, we can't rebuild this wall. Also, our enemies said, before they know it or see us, we'll be right there among them. We'll kill them. Put an end to this work. Then the Jews who lived near them came and told us 10 times over, wherever you turn, they will attack us. Wherever you turn, they will attack us. Wherever you turn, they will attack us. I was going to do that 10 times, but I thought, I better not. Isn't that annoying? Was that annoying, Nick? Let me do it 10 times and see how annoying it is. All right? 10 times over. I got that underlined in my Bible. Wherever you turn, they will attack us. You know, get you kind of jumpy. I'm watching you. Yes. So verse 13, therefore I stationed, this is Nehemiah, this is his journal. You remember this, right? Nehemiah is writing down in his journal. He says, therefore I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the wall at the exposed places, posting them by families with their swords and spears and bows. After I looked things over, I stood up and I said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your homes. Well, when the enemies heard of that I was aware of their plot and that God had frustrated it, we all returned to the wall, each to his own work. From that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor. The officers posted themselves behind all the people of Judah who were building the wall. Those who carried materials did their work with one hand and held a weapon with the other. And each of the builders wore his sword at his side as he worked. But the man who sounded the trumpet, he stayed with me. Then I said to the nobles, the officials, and the rest of the people, the work is extensive, spread out. We're widely separated from one another along this wall. Whenever you hear the sound of the trumpet, join us there. Our God will fight for us. So we continue to work. Half the men holding spears from the first light of dawn until the stars came out. At that time, I also said to the people, have every man and his helper stay inside Jerusalem at night, so they can serve us as guards by night and workmen by day. Neither I nor my brothers, nor my men, nor the guards with me took off their clothes. Each had his weapon, even when we went for water. Wow, everything was going great until now. These people faced a very common problem. A problem that every one of us face every single day. And to various levels, you have this today. And that is the problem of discouragement. I want to share a little story with you. Maybe you've heard about this little parable before, but if not, I think you'll enjoy it. And I don't know if that's the right word, but it will connect with you. You'll understand. One day, the devil decided to go out of business. I wish he really did, but we'll make believe. His tools were for sale, and they were put on display. Malice, jealousy, pride. They were easy to see by most of these people who were buying this stuff. There was one worn, tiny, wedge-shaped tool that had the very highest price, but it was difficult to identify. What is that? Someone asked. I can't identify it. Oh, that, Satan answered. That's discouragement. It's my most valuable tool. With it, I can open many hearts, since so few people know that it belongs to me. I'm telling you the truth. I honestly believe this with all my heart. That I could get up here, doesn't matter if it's here, anywhere, every single Sunday and preach to this issue of discouragement and have an audience every single time, to a certain degree. This is something that everybody struggles with on a regular basis, is discouragement. It's universal. Everybody does. Doesn't matter who it is. Pastors, leaders, moms, dads, kids. Everybody struggles with it. It is completely universal. And it's reoccurring. My goal is today that when you leave this place, you will no longer be discouraged to whatever degree you're discouraged. But instead, you will be encouraged. But it's reoccurring. You could come back here again next week with a certain measure of discouragement. It's reoccurring. And it is very highly contagious, as we will see in this text. Highly contagious. It's almost like a domino. It's almost like what happened to me when I was driving school bus, when I was going to college. Did I ever share that story with you? Lauren, have I shared that story with you? See, when you go to college, sometimes you have to do a bunch of crazy jobs. And I drove these kids to the Christian Academy. And it was 15 people in this bus, right? And so we drive, it's like about 20 miles one way. And I'm starting to drive with the kids. And all of a sudden, one little kid pukes. And it's like, oh, it comes running over here, you know. Oh, no. But that wasn't the worst part, because the kid next to this kid said, oh, look, it had scrambled eggs for breakfast. And the other kid goes, oh, bleh. And it's like, boom, 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 boom. And there's puke flying everywhere. And it's on my shoulder. And oh, what a mess. It was this domino effect. How many of you have I made sick yet? Okay. I'll give me time. I can get more. But it is, discouragement is that same way. You got somebody comes in, they're discouraged. And they begin to spill over on the other person. And that makes them discouraged. And it just goes on and on and on. You know what I'm talking about. And it's like, you know, someone comes in and they just got this black cloud. And it's just highly, highly contagious. Well, these workers began. They were excited. Man, they were full of joy. They worked with all their heart. Remember that? We studied that last week. They worked with all their heart. Or as one translation says, they had a mind to work and they had a will to work. And they were just into it with all that they had. And then, the honeymoon was over. Newness was over. It's getting down to work. And now the enemy begins to come in and begin to work on them. Because never forget this true principle. Wherever God is at work, the enemy's at work too. When no one's busy doing God's work, you think the enemy cares about being involved in that? No. He's got him in the bag. You begin to start picking up one stone to begin to build a city on a hill. You can rest assured the enemy's going to come in and he's going to begin to use all his best tools against you. Realize it. Don't let that discourage you. Understand that that's the reality. Wherever God is at work. As a matter of fact, it encourages me a lot of times when I can get my focus back, is that when these things start pushing up and coming against me, is that I must be doing something good for God. I must be doing something good for God, because look at this enemy coming in against me. So today's lesson is going to be pretty easy. Oh, I love that verse. Please memorize that. And it's an easy one. Right there. But we prayed to our God and we posted a guard. Prayed to our God and posted a guard. See, this is the theme passage to me of Nehemiah. Prayer and action. Prayer and action. So you got folks over here so spiritually, they just pray, they just pray, but they don't do a thing. And expecting God's going to take care of it. God's going to take care of it. God expects you to do something too. That's the theme of Nehemiah. Pray and post a guard. Then you got people over here just working their way to heaven, And they are never in connection with God. And the limit to what they can do is based upon their own skills, abilities, and energy. So people are so heavenly minded, they're no earthly good. You got folks over here who are so full of themselves, they got no power of God, and they're going to fail. Both are going to fail. God says pray.